Jisoo's hand trembled as she pressed it against her stomach, feeling the barely there curve that would soon betray her secret. Kang Tae-hyun stood 3 feet away in his penthouse, his eyes darker than the Seoul night behind him. "You're what?" His voice dropped to a whisper that made her skin crawl. "Pregnant. 12 weeks." The words tasted like metal. "With twins." His jaw clenched so hard she heard it crack. "That's impossible." The doctor seemed pretty fucking certain. Her laugh came out broken. 2 heartbeats, Tae-hyun. 2. He turned away, hands fisting in his hair. 10 seconds of silence. 20. When he finally looked back, his face was stone. Get rid of them. Everything went silent. The city noise below, her breathing, her heartbeat, all of it just stopped. "What did you just—" "You heard me." He stepped closer, and she saw nothing in those black eyes. Nothing human. "I can't have complications right now. My father's empire, the territorial wars with the Busan Syndicate, a pregnant woman, children, they're targets I can't afford. These are your babies." "They're a mistake." His voice was ice. "From one night I should have never let happen. You were supposed to disappear after the wedding got called off, Jisoo. Not show up 3 months later with this." She felt her knees start to give. "You said you'd protect me. That night, when I ran from my father's arranged marriage, when I had nowhere to go, you promised—" "I lied." He reached for his phone. "I'll have my driver take you to a clinic. It'll be handled discreetly. You'll receive 2,000,001 for your trouble." The slap happened before she knew her hand was moving. Flashback begins. The wedding venue looked like something from a nightmare dressed as a fairy tale. White roses everywhere. Her father's choice, not hers. 23 years old, and Jisoo was about to marry a man she'd met twice. Choi Min-ho, 47, her father's business partner, a man who looked at her like she was property he'd already purchased. "I can't do this." She stood in the bridal suite, her best friend Sora gripping both her hands. "Then don't." Sora's voice was fierce. "Jisoo, if you walk down that aisle, you'll never walk back. Your father might own half of Seoul's import business, but he doesn't own you. He'll destroy me, cut me off. I have no money of my own, no—" "You have me, and you have your damn spine that I know is in there somewhere." Sora squeezed harder. What's the worst that could happen? Jisoo thought about Minho's hands, the way he'd touched her waist during their engagement photos, fingers digging in just a little too hard, the way he'd whispered, "You'll learn to obey," thinking it was romantic. Fuck it. She started pulling off the dress. "Help me get out of this thing." 20 minutes later, she was running through the venue's service entrance in jeans and Sora's spare jacket, her heart hammering against her ribs. She had her phone, her ID, and exactly 62,001 in cash. The black Mercedes appeared out of nowhere. She would have gotten hit if someone hadn't yanked her back. Strong hands on her waist, pulling her against a solid chest. The smell of expensive cologne and something darker. Leather, maybe, or gunpowder. "Careful, sweetheart." The voice was deep, accented with Seoul's Gangnam district. "Running into traffic is a permanent solution to temporary problems." She spun around and forgot how to breathe. He was beautiful in a dangerous way. Sharp jaw, sharper eyes, black hair falling across his forehead, a suit that probably cost more than her father had spent on the wedding, and a scar, thin and pale, cutting through his left eyebrow. "I wasn't trying to—" Her voice cracked. "I'm not—" "You're a runaway bride." His eyes traveled over her, taking in the obvious. "Still have rice in your hair." She touched her head, mortified, and felt the decorative grains from the traditional ceremony. Oh, God, in traditional wedding? He tilted his head. "Let me guess. Arranged marriage? Older man? Father's business deal? How did you—" "I know the type. The desperate ones always run through this district." He released her but didn't step back. Usually they make it about 2 blocks before reality hits and they turn around. "I'm not turning around." "No?" Something flickered in his expression. Interest, maybe. "Where are you going?" "I don't know." The honesty felt like freedom. "Anywhere that's not here." He studied her for a long moment. The street noise, car horns, distant sirens, the bass thump from a nearby club, all of it faded into background static. "Kang Tae-hyun." He held out his hand. "Jisoo." She took it. His palm was warm, calloused. A working man's hand in a rich man's suit. "Just Jisoo." "Well, just Jisoo." His mouth curved, and she felt it in her stomach. "You look like you could use a drink." Present day, after the slap. The print of her hand was red on his cheek. Taehyun hadn't moved, hadn't even blinked. Just stood there, jaw tight, that same empty expression. "Get out!" His voice was quiet, controlled, which somehow made it worse. "Now. You're a monster." Jisoo's vision blurred. "I defended you. When Sora said you were dangerous, when everyone warned me about the Kang family, about your business, I said they were wrong. I said you were different." "You don't know anything about my business." "I know enough. I know your father runs half the underground operations in Seoul. I know people disappear when they cross your family. I know—" Her breath hitched. "I know I was stupid enough to think you were different when you held me that night, when you told me I was safe with you." "You were safe." Something cracked in his expression just for a second. "Until you got pregnant." "These babies didn't ask to be conceived, and I didn't ask for any of this." She wrapped her arms around her stomach, protective. "But I'm keeping them, both of them, with or without you." "You won't survive a week." He turned back to the window. "My enemies will find you, use you. Your father's already put a bounty on your head for the wedding embarrassment. Did you think I didn't know? The only reason you're still alive is because everyone thinks you're under my protection." "Then protect me." "I can't." His shoulders tensed. "Not anymore. Not like this." "Why? Because babies make you weak?" She laughed, bitter. "Or because you actually feel something for me and that scares the hell out of you?" His silence was answer enough. "That's what I thought." She grabbed her purse. "Don't worry, Taehyun. I'll disappear like you wanted. You'll never have to see me or your children again." She made it to the door before his voice stopped her. "Jisoo?" She didn't turn around. Couldn't. "If you need money, go to hell." The door slammed behind her with a finality that echoed through the penthouse. 2 weeks later, Sora's apartment was the size of a shoebox, but it felt like sanctuary. Jisoo sat on the tiny couch, hand on her stomach, staring at nothing. "Stop moping." Sora threw a pillow at her. "You've been here for 2 weeks and you've barely eaten, barely spoken. This isn't healthy. I'm growing 2 humans. I'm allowed to mope." "You're allowed to be heartbroken. You're not allowed to waste away." Sora crouched in front of her, hands on her knees. "Jisoo-ya, look at me." She looked. He's an asshole. A beautiful, dangerous, emotionally constipated asshole. But he's not worth dying over. "I'm not dying. You're not living either." Sora's expression softened. "You loved him. I get it. But now you have too little reasons to move forward. So let's start with food. Real food. Not instant ramen." "I can't afford real food." "Good thing I got paid today." Sora pulled her up. "Come on, there's a new restaurant that opened downstairs, Korean barbecue, my treat." "Sora, I can't let you—" "Shut up and put on shoes." The restaurant was crowded, warm, smelling like heaven. Jisoo's stomach growled embarrassingly loud as they sat down. They ordered too much. Bulgogi, galbi, kimchi jjigae, rice, banchan, and for the first time in weeks, Jisoo felt almost human. "Oh my God," she closed her eyes as she chewed. "I could cry. Please don't. You've cried enough for one lifetime." Sora poured them both water. "So, what's the plan?" "Plan? For the babies, for your life, for—" Sora gestured vaguely. "Everything." "I don't know. Jisoo set down her chopsticks. I have no job, no money, no family. My father's disowned me. Taehyun wants nothing to do with me. I'm completely... Excuse me. They both looked up. A man stood beside their table. Early 30s, kind eyes, doctor's coat over casual clothes. He had a gentle smile that crinkled the corners of his eyes. I'm sorry to interrupt, he said, but I'm Dr. Han Ji-ho. I run the free clinic 2 blocks from here. He held out a business card. I couldn't help but overhear. You're pregnant? Jisoo's face heated. Yes? Twins, if I heard correctly. His smile widened. That's wonderful. Complicated, but wonderful. I wanted to offer my services. Free prenatal care. We specialize in helping women in difficult situations. I don't need charity. The words came out harsher than intended. It's not charity. It's health care. He set the card on their table. Think about it. The offer stands regardless. Congratulations on your pregnancy. He walked away before she could respond. Sora picked up the card. Cute. Single? Sora. What? I'm just saying, rebound sex is very therapeutic. I'm pregnant. With an asshole's babies. Who told you to get rid of them? Sora's voice turned fierce. You're allowed to move on, Jisoo. You're allowed to be happy. You're allowed to... The restaurant door burst open. Taehyun walked in like he owned the place. Probably did, knowing him. His eyes scanned the room, landed on her, and everything inside her just stopped. He looked terrible. Hair disheveled, circles under his eyes, jaw tight with something that might have been desperation if Kang Taehyun was capable of such human emotions. We need to talk. He was already moving toward their table. No. Jisoo stood up. We really don't. Jisoo. You made yourself clear. I'm handling it. She grabbed her purse. Let's go, Sora. Like hell. Sora stood too, putting herself between Jisoo and Taehyun. You don't get to show up here. Not after what you said. This doesn't concern you. Taehyun's voice was cold. Everything about Jisoo concerns me. I'm the one picking up the pieces you shattered. Sora poked his chest. Hard. So unless you're here to grovel, and I mean full on your knees, begging forgiveness grovel, you can turn around and... Someone tried to kill her. Silence. What? Jisoo's voice came out small. 2 days ago, a car followed you from this building. Black sedan, Busan plates. Taehyun's eyes were hard. They circled the block 3 times before my men intercepted. Your men. Did you think I'd actually let you walk out unprotected? He laughed, harsh. I have 4 guards on you at all times. You just don't see them. Jisoo's head spun. You've been following me. I've been keeping you alive. He stepped closer, and Sora moved back reluctantly. Your father's bounty is now 20 million won, and the Busan Syndicate knows about the pregnancy. They know the babies are mine. How? Someone talked. Someone always talks. His jaw clenched. They want to use you, use the babies as leverage against my family, against me. So what? Jisoo's voice shook. You want me to get rid of them even more now? Eliminate the problem? I want you to come home. The words seemed torn from him. To my penthouse, where I can actually protect you properly. Are you insane? Probably. He ran a hand through his hair. But I'm also the only thing standing between you and a very painful death. So you're going to swallow your pride, get in my car, and let me do my job. Your job? Jisoo laughed high-pitched. Is that what I am? A job? You're... He stopped, closed his eyes. You're the mother of my children, and despite what I said, I'm not letting anyone hurt you. How noble. Her voice dripped sarcasm. You want me gone but alive? What a comfort. Jisoo... No, you know what? Fine, fine. She was shaking now. I'll go with you, because I'm not stupid enough to put my babies at risk because of my pride. But don't think this means anything. Don't think I've forgiven you. Your shelter, protection, nothing more. Something flickered in his eyes. Pain, maybe. Good. Understood. He pulled out his phone. My car is outside. Taehyun's penthouse. That night, the guest room was bigger than Sora's entire apartment. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Seoul. A bed that could fit 5 people. Bathroom with a tub that looked like a small pool. Jisoo sat on the bed and let herself break down. She cried for the girl who'd run from a wedding, for the night with Taehyun that had felt like destiny, for the babies she was bringing into a world of violence and danger, for the love she'd felt that turned out to be one-sided. A soft knock on the door. Go away. Her voice was wrecked. The door opened anyway. Taehyun stood there, holding a tray. Soup, rice, tea. He looked uncomfortable, out of place in his own home. You need to eat. I don't need anything from you. The babies do. He set the tray on the bedside table. Doctor said you're underweight, that you need proper nutrition. You talked to a doctor about me? I've had my personal physician monitoring your health since you left. He wouldn't meet her eyes. You've lost 3 kilos. Your blood pressure is elevated. You're not sleeping. Stop. She stood up, furious. Stop acting like you care. You can't tell me to abort our children and then play concerned father. Pick a lane, Taehyun. I was wrong. The admission hung in the air between them. What? I was wrong, okay? He finally looked at her. I panicked. I said things I didn't mean, things I can't take back. You think? Her laugh was broken. You told me to get rid of them. You called them a mistake. They're not. He moved closer. They're not a mistake. You're not a mistake. That night... His voice dropped. That night was the first time in my life I felt like something other than my father's weapon. Don't. She backed up. Don't do this. Don't try to make me feel... I'm not trying to make you feel anything. He stopped advancing. I'm telling you the truth. 3 months ago, you crashed into my life, literally. Almost got hit by my cousin's car. And when I pulled you back, when I saw your face... He swallowed hard. I knew I was fucked. That's not... I took you for a drink. 1 drink turned into 5. 5 turned into talking until 3 a.m. You told me about your father, about the arranged marriage, about how you'd never been free in your entire life. His eyes were black fire, and I wanted to give you that, freedom, one night where nothing else mattered. So you slept with me. Her voice was flat. I made love to you. The correction was fierce. In my bed, in my home, where I'd never brought anyone before, where I woke up with you wrapped around me and thought... He stopped, breathed. I thought maybe I could keep you. Tears slipped down her cheeks. Then why? Because keeping you means painting a target on your back. His hands fisted. My world isn't safe, Jisoo. The things I do, the enemies I have, they don't play fair. They'd use you, torture you, kill you slowly just to hurt me. And I couldn't. His voice cracked. I couldn't watch that happen, so I pushed you away, tried to make you hate me, thought if you left, you'd be safe. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. She wiped her face angrily. You don't get to decide what risks I take, what I can handle. I know. And you definitely don't get to tell me to abort our babies and then act like some tragic hero protecting me from yourself. That's manipulative bullshit, Taehyun. I know. He closed his eyes. I fucked up. Completely. I have no excuse except fear, which is pathetic for someone in my position. Yes, it is. She sat back down on the bed. So what now? I stay here like some prisoner? Guarded and protected, but basically alone? No. He knelt in front of her. Actually, knelt. Now I figure out how to keep you safe while also trying to be someone worthy of you, of them. His hand hovered over her stomach. May I? She didn't answer, just took his hand and placed it on the small curve. His breath caught. They're really in there. 2 of them, making me sick every morning, making me cry at commercials, making me crave the weirdest food combinations. She smiled despite herself. Your kids are already trouble. They get that from you. His thumb traced small circles on her stomach. The troublemaker bride who ran into traffic. They get it from you, the mafioso who can't communicate feelings without threatening someone. He laughed. Actually laughed. Quiet and rough, but real. Truce? He asked. Coexistence, she corrected. We live together. You protect us. I don't stab you in your sleep. But don't expect forgiveness, Tae-hyun. You broke something in me that night. Something that doesn't just heal because you're being nice now. Fair enough. He stood up. Eat. Sleep. Tomorrow we'll set up better security protocols. He was at the door when she called out. Tae-hyun? He turned. Thank you. For the guards. For... She gestured around. This. Even if you were an asshole about it. His smile was sad. Get some rest, Jisoo. 1 week later, living with Tae-hyun was strange. He left early, came home late. They'd eat breakfast together in careful silence. He'd ask about her symptoms. She'd give one-word answers. They circled each other like planets in different orbits. But she noticed things. The way he'd leave prenatal vitamins on the counter, the way the fridge was always stocked with her favorites, the way he'd turned his home office into a fortress of security feeds and protective measures, the way he'd stand outside her door at night. She could see his shadow under the doorframe, just standing there, like he was making sure she was safe, or maybe working up the courage to knock. He never did. Sora visited daily, because of course she did. This is weird. Sora lounged on Jisoo's bed, eating imported chocolates from Tae-hyun's kitchen. You two are like divorced parents sharing custody, except the kids aren't born yet. We were never married. You were something. I saw the way he looked at you that night, when you came back to my place the morning after, glowing like you'd discovered religion. Sora pointed a chocolate at her. That man worships you. He's just stupid about showing it. He told me to abort our babies. And he apologized, groveled even, which I'm told doesn't happen in the Kang family. Sora popped the chocolate in her mouth. Cut him some slack. Why are you defending him? Because you love him, Sora's voice gentled. And he clearly loves you. And those babies deserve parents who at least try to work it out. Before Jisoo could respond, shouting erupted from downstairs. Both women froze. Stay here. Sora was already moving toward the door. Like hell. Jisoo followed. They crept down the hallway. Voices from Tae-hyun's office. Multiple male voices, angry. Can't keep her here. It's a liability. She stays. Tae-hyun's voice was lethal. Non-negotiable. Your father won't approve. The pregnancy complicates succession planning. My father can go to hell. A crash. Like something being thrown. You're thinking with your diak instead of your brain. That girl is a weakness. The Busan Syndicate knows it. They're already planning. Let them plan. Another crash. Anyone who touches her dies. Slowly, publicly. I'll make it a statement. You'll start a war. Then I'll start a war. Tae-hyun's voice dropped to something terrifying. She's mine, those children are mine, and I will burn Seoul to the ground before I let anyone hurt them. Are we clear? Silence. Get out, all of you. Footsteps. The door opened. 3 men in expensive suits filed out, not looking at Jisoo and Sora pressed against the wall. Tae-hyun appeared in the doorway. His eyes landed on Jisoo and his expression shifted. The monster disappeared. Just a man remained. You heard. Yes. She stepped forward. You were going to start a war? For me? Without hesitation. He looked exhausted. Jisoo, my family, my father's empire, it's built on loyalty and fear. Showing weakness gets you killed. Showing attachment gets the people you love killed. That's why I pushed you away. Why I said those terrible things. I thought if everyone believed I didn't care, you'd be safe. How's that working out? Terribly. He laughed, bitter. Turns out I'm not a good enough actor. Everyone knows. About you, about the babies, about the fact that I'd do anything to protect you. Sora cleared her throat. I'm just gonna... Yeah. I'll be downstairs. Not listening. At all. She disappeared. Jisoo walked into the office. It was destroyed. Papers everywhere. A lamp shattered. Tae-hyun stood in the center of the chaos, looking like he wanted to destroy more. What did they want? My father wants to meet you. Officially. He wouldn't look at her. He wants to assess whether you're suitable. For me. For the family. And if I'm not, then he'll arrange an accident. The casual way he said it made her stomach turn. Jesus! Welcome to my world. He finally met her eyes. I can refuse. Tell him to go to hell. But it'll cause problems. Big ones. He might cut me off from the family business, remove me from succession. Would you? Would I what? Tell him to go to hell. For me. She held her breath. He crossed the room in 3 strides, hands cupping her face. Jisoo, I would burn my entire legacy to ash if it meant keeping you safe. My father's empire, my position, all of it. None of it matters compared to you, to them. His hand slid down to her stomach. Tell me you understand that. Her voice broke. I don't know what to believe anymore. Then don't believe my words. He pressed his forehead to hers. Believe my actions. I've had guards on you since you left. I've restructured my entire security apparatus around protecting you. I've told my father, the most dangerous man in Seoul, that you're non-negotiable. What else do I need to do? Tell me you love me. The words hung between them. He swallowed hard. Jisoo, can't say it? She pulled back. That's what I thought. It's not that I can't. It's that... He gripped her arms, desperate. In my family, love is a weapon. The second I say it out loud, it becomes real, undeniable, and that makes you a permanent target. I'm already a target. Not like this, not with the full weight of what I feel for you behind it. His eyes were wild. Jisoo, I've killed men, dozens of them. I've tortured people for information, burned businesses to the ground. I'm not a good man. I'm not someone you should love. Too late. She was crying now. I already do. God help me, I love you. Even though you broke my heart, even though you're dangerous and damaged and probably going to get me killed. I love you. Fuck. He pulled her against him, face buried in her hair. Fuck, fuck, fuck. Eloquent. I love you. The words came out muffled. I love you so goddamn much it terrifies me. I've loved you since that first night when you fell asleep on my couch, rambling about freedom. I loved you when you kissed me like I was salvation. I loved you when you showed up pregnant and I tried to push you away because I was a coward. I love you, Jisoo, and it's going to get us both killed. She laughed through tears. You really need to work on your romantic declarations. I'm serious. I know. She pulled back to look at him. But I'm not running. Not from you. Not from this life. Not from the danger. So you're stuck with me, Kang Tae-hyun. Me and your troublemaking twins. He kissed her then. Desperate and deep, like he was trying to prove something. Or maybe apologize. Or maybe just hold on to something good in his violent world. When they broke apart, they were both breathing hard. Marry me. The words tumbled out of him. What? Marry me. Not some arranged bullshit. Not for business, just marry me because I love you and I want everyone to know you're mine. That's the second worst proposal I've ever received. But she was smiling. What was the worst? When Choi Min-ho told me I'd learn to obey during our engagement photos. Tae-hyun's expression darkened. Give me his address. No murder for bad proposals. That's not how this works. She cupped his face. Ask me again. Better this time. He took a breath. Knelt down. Actually knelt, hands on her stomach where their babies grew. Jisoo, I'm a terrible bet. I'm violent, damaged, and I come with more baggage than any sane person would accept. but I will protect you with everything I have. I will love these children fiercely. I will try every day to be worthy of you, even though I'll probably fail. Will you marry me anyway?" She pulled him up, kissed him softly. "Yes, you idiot, yes." 2 months later, the pregnancy was showing now, a pronounced curve that made people stare. Jisoo had stopped caring. She walked through Taehyun's world like she belonged there, because she did. Meeting his father had been terrifying. Kang Daishim was what Taehyun would become in 30 years if he let the darkness win. Cold, calculating, measuring her like livestock. But Jisoo had stared him down. "Your son loves me," she'd said, "and I love him. You can approve or not. Either way, I'm having these babies. Either way, I'm staying. Your choice is whether you have a relationship with your grandchildren or not." Daishim had laughed. Actually laughed. "She's got spine. I'll give you that, Taehyun. Better than the last one." "There was no last one, father." "Exactly." Daishim had stood. "You have my blessing. Tentative. Don't make me regret it." It was the closest thing to approval they'd get. Sora had started dating someone, Dr. Han Ji-ho, the doctor from that first night at the restaurant. He'd found her at the clinic when she'd accompanied Jisoo to an appointment. Their chemistry was immediate and obvious. "He's so nice," Sora gushed over lunch. "Like, genuinely kind, opens doors, asks about my day, doesn't run an underground crime empire." "That last one's a plus," Jisoo agreed. "Right? Such a refreshing change." Sora's expression turned serious. "How are you, really? Scared? Excited? In love?" Jisoo touched her stomach. "They're moving now, constantly, like they're already fighting for space." "Sounds like their parents." "We don't fight anymore. We coexist peacefully." "Sure. If peacefully means the sexual tension is so thick I need a knife to cut through it whenever I visit." Jisoo's face heated. "We're taking it slow." "You're pregnant with his twins and living in his house. How much slower can you—" The cafe exploded. 1 second they were laughing. The next the window shattered inward, screaming, heat, the acrid smell of smoke and burning. Jisoo hit the ground, Sora covering her. Her ears rang, couldn't hear, couldn't see, just smoke and chaos. Arms wrapped around her, lifting, carrying. "Okay, Jisoo, answer me." Taehyun's voice panicked. She coughed. "I'm okay, Sora. I've got her." Another voice. "Ji-ho?" They were outside, sirens wailing, people running. Taehyun's face was ghost white as he ran hands over her, checking for injuries. "The babies. We need a hospital, now." He was already on his phone. "Bring the car around, and I want every available man on finding who did this." "Taehyun, you could have died." His voice shook. "Both of you. All 3 of you. Right there. And I wasn't. But we didn't." She gripped his face. "We're okay. We're alive." "For how long?" He pulled back, eyes wild. "This is what I warned you about. This is my life. Bombs in cafes, assassination attempts, living every day wondering if it's the last. Then we make it worth it." Her voice was steady even as her hands trembled. "We live anyway. We love anyway. We don't let them win by being afraid." "That's easy to say when you're not the one covered in glass and smoke." "I am the one covered in glass and smoke, you idiot." She kissed him hard. "And I'm still choosing this, choosing you, so stop trying to protect me from a life I've already chosen." The ambulance arrived. Hospital. Hours later, the ultrasound monitor showed 2 perfect heartbeats. Strong, steady, stubborn, the doctor said, like their parents. Jisoo cried from relief. Taehyun held her hand so tight it should have hurt. Sora and Ji-ho stood in the corner, his arm around her waist. "They're okay," the doctor confirmed. "Completely fine. You were very lucky." "Lucky." Taehyun laughed, hollow. "Right." When they were alone, he sat on the edge of her hospital bed. "I found who did it." Already? The Busan Syndicate, retaliation for some territory dispute last month. His jaw was tight. They'll be dealt with. Tae-hyun, I'm not negotiating on this. They tried to kill you, kill our children. His eyes were black fire. There are consequences. I'm not asking you not to handle it. I'm asking you not to start a war. Too late. He stood. The war started the second they decided you were acceptable collateral damage. Now I'm going to finish it. And then what? More retaliation, more bombs. When does it end? When they're all dead or too afraid to touch you. He kissed her forehead. Get some rest. I'll be back in a few hours. Where are you going? To remind everyone in Seoul why they fear the Kang family. He left before she could argue. Sora slipped back in after he'd gone. He's going to do something terrible, isn't he? Probably. Jisoo stared at the ceiling. But I can't stop him, and part of me doesn't want to. That's the pregnancy hormones talking. No, it's the part of me that's still terrified, that knows the only reason we're alive is because of what he's willing to do. She looked at her best friend. Does that make me a bad person? It makes you human. Sora squeezed her hand. Love isn't always clean and pretty. Sometimes it's messy and violent and morally questionable. But it's real, and that's what matters. When did you get so wise? Since I started dating a doctor who talks about ethics and consequences. Sora smiled. He's good for me. The whole Hippocratic Oath thing is very grounding. You really like him. I really do. Sora's expression turned shy. Is it weird that I met him because of your disaster life? That's what best friends are for, sharing disaster life opportunities. They both laughed, and it felt like breathing again. Tae-yoon's penthouse. 3 days later, Jisoo was released from the hospital with strict bed rest orders. Tae-hyun had turned the master bedroom into a fortress. Guards outside, secure channels on every device, panic buttons installed everywhere. He'd been gone when she got home, gone for 3 days. When he finally walked through the door, he looked like death, exhausted, blood on his shirt cuffs, knuckles bruised. It's done. His voice was flat. Done? The Busan Syndicate, their leadership, the men responsible. He stripped off his jacket like it was contaminated. They won't be a problem anymore. You killed them. Yes. The simple admission hung between them. Jisoo should have been horrified, should have recoiled. But all she felt was relief. Good. She walked to him. Are we safe now? Safer. There'll always be threats. Always someone new trying to make a name for themselves. But for now, he cupped her face. For now, they know. Touch you, and they don't just die. Everyone they love dies. Their organizations burn. Their legacies turn to ash. That's horrifying. That's my world. His thumb traced her cheekbone. Last chance, Jisoo. Walk away now. I'll set you up somewhere safe. Switzerland, maybe. New identity. Money. You and the babies can have a normal life. Do you want me to walk away? God, no. Then stop asking. She pulled him down for a kiss. I'm staying. We're staying. Get used to it. He kissed her back, desperate and claiming. When they broke apart, she could see tears in his eyes. I don't deserve you. Probably not, but you're stuck with me anyway. She took his hand, placed it on her stomach. With us, your family. My family. He said it like a prayer, like he was just realizing what that meant. I've never had that. Not really. My father's a monster. My mother died when I was 6. I grew up alone in a house full of people. You're not alone anymore. She covered his hand with hers. You have me. You have them. You have Sora and Jiho, apparently, since they've decided we're all best friends now. He laughed, wet and broken. Your best friend and her boyfriend, the doctor. Your cousin approves, by the way. Said Jiho's acceptably non-threatening. High praise from Minho. Wait, Your cousin is named Minho? Like, not the same Minho you were supposed to marry. Different one. Mine's younger, less creepy, more prone to making inappropriate jokes. Taehyun pulled her closer. You'll meet him at the wedding. Are we actually doing that, getting married? Unless you've changed your mind. I haven't, but I need something from you first. His expression turned wary. What? No more secrets. No more pushing me away to protect me. No more making decisions about us without talking to me. She held his gaze. We're partners, equals, or this doesn't work. Partners, he repeated. I've never had one of those either. Well, congratulations. You're getting one now, plus 2 tiny future partners who are currently using my bladder as a trampoline. They're active? So active. Here. She moved his hand lower. Feel that? That's twin A. They're the troublemaker, and that... She shifted his hand. That's twin B, the quiet one. They're the one I'm worried about. Why? Because the quiet ones are always the most dangerous. Trust me. She smiled. I lived with a MAFIA boss. I know the type. He pulled her against him, careful of her stomach. Marry me tomorrow. Tomorrow? Why wait? We already know we're doing this, and I want... He swallowed hard. I want them to be born into a family, a real one, legal and official and protected by every law I can leverage. That's actually romantic, in a very pragmatic crime boss kind of way. Is that a yes? That's a, let me call Sora and see if she can pull together a wedding in 24 hours. Done. I'll handle everything else. Everything else? Venue, food, flowers, officiant, security, lots of security. His eyes gleamed. We're doing this right. No more running, no more hiding. You're going to be Jisoo Kang, and everyone in Seoul is going to know it. You're insane. Probably. Is that a problem? Not even a little bit. The wedding. Next day, Taehyun hadn't been kidding about doing things right. The venue was a private estate outside Seoul, gardens in full bloom, cherry blossoms falling like snow, security everywhere, but subtle. Men in suits who blended into the background unless you knew what to look for. Jisoo wore a simple white dress, flowy, accommodating her growing belly. Beautiful. Sora had spent the morning doing her makeup, talking nonstop about Jiho and how he'd asked her to move in. It's too fast, right? Sora asked. We've only been dating 3 months. You're asking the woman who got pregnant after one night with a MAFIA boss. Jisoo smiled. I think you're fine. Fair point. Sora added the finishing touches. You look beautiful. He's going to lose his mind. He's seen me throw up every morning for weeks. The bar is low. Trust me, you look like a goddess. The ceremony was small. Taehyun's father and a few trusted family members, Sora and Jiho, a handful of Taehyun's inner circle. The officiant was an older man who'd apparently married half the crime families in Seoul. Taehyun stood at the altar in a black suit that probably cost more than most people's cars. But it was his expression that stopped her heart. The way he looked at her, like she was everything good he'd never thought he'd deserve. She walked down the aisle alone. By choice. No one to give her away. She was giving herself. Hi, she whispered when she reached him. Hi. His voice was rough. You're perfect. I'm 7 months pregnant and retaining water. Perfect, he repeated. The ceremony was short. Traditional vows with a few modifications. Taehyun had insisted on adding a line about protecting her with his life. Jisoo had insisted on adding a line about him actually talking about his feelings. When the officiant said, "You may kiss your bride," Taehyun pulled her close and kissed her like they weren't surrounded by violent criminals and medical professionals. "I love you," he whispered against her lips. "My wife." "I love you, my husband." She smiled. "We're really doing this." "We really are." The reception was beautiful. Too much food, an open bar, dancing under string lights. Jisoo sat at the head table, feet aching, watching Sora and Jiho on the dance floor looking ridiculously happy. "They're good together," Taehyun said, sliding into the seat next to her. "They are. He's good for her, stable, kind. She's good for him, gives him chaos, excitement." Taehyun took her hand. "Like you're good for me." "I give you chaos? You give me everything." He kissed her knuckles. "How are you feeling?" "Tired, happy, slightly terrified that this is all real. It's real." He placed his hand on her stomach. "They're real. We're real. This family we're building. It's the most real thing I've ever had." One of the babies kicked against his palm. His eyes widened. "Was that?" Twin A saying hello to Dad. She covered his hand with hers. "They're excited to meet you." "I'm excited to meet them. Terrified, but excited." "You're going to be a good father." "How do you know?" "Because you already love them. I see it. The way you talk about them, plan for them. The nursery you had built while I was in the hospital. Yes, I found it. The cribs, the stuffed animals, the mobile that plays classical music because you read somewhere it's good for brain development." She cupped his face. "You care, Taehyun. That's what matters. I care about you, about them, about this." He gestured around. "I never thought I'd have this. A wife, a family, something worth protecting beyond territory and reputation. Now you do. Now I do." He stood, held out his hand. "Dance with me?" "I'm huge, and my feet are swollen." "Dance with me anyway." She let him pull her up. He held her carefully on the dance floor, swaying to something slow and romantic. She rested her head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat. "Thank you," she whispered. "For what?" "For saving me. That night, from the traffic, from the wedding, from myself." "You saved me too." His arms tightened. "From becoming my father, from a life without color, from dying alone and unmourned. We saved each other then." "Yeah, we did." They danced until her feet couldn't take any more, until the twins were kicking in protest, until the night turned soft and late and perfect. 2 months later, the hospital Jisoo was in labor, had been for 8 hours. 8 hours of contractions and breathing exercises, and Taehyun looking progressively more panicked. "You're doing great," Sora said from her other side. "I'm dying. This is death. It's childbirth. Kind of similar." Not helping, another contraction hit. Jisoo gripped Taehyun's hand so hard she felt bones grind. "Do something," Taehyun demanded of the medical staff. "Give her drugs, all the drugs." "Sir, she's already had an epidural." "Then give her more. She's in pain." "I'm fine." Jisoo glared at him. "Stop threatening the doctors. They're helping." "They're not helping fast enough." "Taehyun, shut up." He shut up. 3 hours later, at 2:47 a.m., their first baby arrived, a girl, screaming and perfect. The doctor placed her on Jisoo's chest and the world stopped. "Oh my God," Jisoo couldn't breathe. "Oh my God, she's perfect," Taehyun finished. He was crying, actually crying. "She's perfect." "Hi, baby." Jisoo touched the tiny face. "Hi, we're your parents. Sorry about that." Taehyun laughed through tears. 7 minutes later, their son arrived, quieter than his sister, calmer, looking around with wide, curious eyes. "Twin B," Jisoo said. "I knew you'd be the dangerous one." The doctor placed him on her chest next to his sister. 2 babies, 2 perfect, healthy, screaming babies. "We're parents," Taehyun said, voice wrecked. "We're actually parents. We're actually parents." Jisoo looked up at him. "You okay?" "No, yes, I don't know." He couldn't take his eyes off the babies. "How do we keep them safe? How do we— There's 2 of them. 2 tiny humans we're responsible for." "The same way we've been doing everything else." She reached for his hand. "Together, one day at a time." He kissed her forehead, then each baby's head. Together. 6 months later, the penthouse had been transformed. baby gear everywhere. A nursery that looked like something from a magazine, 2 cribs, 2 of everything. Jisoo sat on the couch, nursing their daughter, Nari, while their son, Junwoo, slept in Taehyun's arms. He looked exhausted. They both did. Parenting twins was basically a war of attrition against sleep deprivation, but they were happy. Sora and Jiho had gotten married last month. A small ceremony similar to Jisoo and Taehyun's. Jiho had cried during his vows. Sora had made inappropriate jokes. It was perfect. They were over for dinner now. Jiho was attempting to cook while Sora supervised by drinking wine and offering unhelpful commentary. "They're going to burn your kitchen down," Jisoo called out. "Let them. Insurance will cover it." Taehyun adjusted Junwoo in his arms. "How's she eating?" "Like her father, constantly hungry and never satisfied." "She gets that from you." "I get hangry. She gets hangry. It's genetic." He laughed, quiet and warm. He laughed a lot now, smiled more, looked younger. Like becoming a father had given him permission to be human. "Can you believe this is our life?" she asked. 6 months ago, I was running from my wedding. Now I'm married to you, with 2 babies, best friends with a doctor and his chaotic wife, living in a penthouse in Seoul. Is it what you wanted when you ran that day? It's better." She met his eyes. "I wanted freedom. But this is everything I didn't know I needed. Family, love, partnership, even the parts that are hard. It's not the safe life. No, but it's mine. Ours." She looked down at Nari, who'd fallen asleep mid-feeding. "And I wouldn't change it. Not even the part where I'm a criminal? Especially not that part. You're very sexy when you're being all dangerous and protective." "Jisoo..." "What?" "I'm allowed to find my husband attractive. We have company. Who are in the kitchen, probably making out, definitely not paying attention." He grinned. "Later, when the twins are asleep and our friends go home." "Is that a promise?" "It's a guarantee." Sora appeared in the doorway. "Dinner's ready. And by ready, I mean Jiho made something that looks edible and I didn't start any fires." "Low bar, but we'll take it," Jisoo said. They gathered around the dining table. Taehyun had moved the twins to their bassinets nearby. They all ate and talked and laughed, like a real family, like this was normal. "To new beginnings," Jiho raised his glass. "To chaos and friendship," Sora added. "To love," Jisoo said, looking at Taehyun. "To family." Taehyun's eyes were soft. "The one we chose." They clinked glasses. Later, after Sora and Jiho had left, after the twins were finally asleep, Jisoo and Taehyun stood in the nursery watching them. "Do you ever regret it?" she asked quietly. "Choosing this? Choosing us? Every day I'm terrified something will happen, that my world will touch them, hurt you." He pulled her against him. "But regret? Never. You're the best thing that ever happened to me, Jisoo. You and them. You gave me a reason to be better, to try, to actually live instead of just survive. You gave me freedom, real freedom, the kind where I get to choose my own chains." She turned in his arms. "I love you, even when you're overprotective and dramatic and threatening doctors. I love you, even when you're stubborn and reckless and insist on eating kimchi with peanut butter. That was one time, and I was pregnant. It was horrifying." She laughed. He kissed her. They stood there in the soft glow of the nursery nightlight, listening to their babies breathe. This was love, not the fairy tale kind, the real kind. Messy and complicated and built on trust and choice and showing up every day even when it was hard. "Taehyun? Thank you for not being forgettable." He smiled against her hair. "Thank you for running into traffic. Best, worst decision of my life. Mine, too." They stood there a little longer, a MAFIA boss and his runaway bride, 2 babies sleeping peacefully, a future that was uncertain and dangerous and absolutely worth it, And in that moment, wrapped in each other's arms, they were perfect. 5 years later, Nari and Junwoo ran through the garden, chasing each other. 5 years old and already showing their personalities. Nari was bold, loud, fearless. Junwoo was thoughtful, quiet, strategic. "Don't climb that tree," Jisoo called out. Nari climbed the tree anyway. "She gets that from you," Taehyun said. "The selective hearing, that's all Kang genetics." He laughed, pulling her closer on the bench. They watched their kids play, watched Sora and Jiho arrive with their own daughter, a 3-year-old named Mina, who worshipped Nari and followed her everywhere. "Can you believe it's been 5 years?" Jisoo asked. "Feels like yesterday, feels like forever." Taehyun kissed her temple. "Best 5 years of my life." "Even the parts where the twins put your gun in the toilet?" "Especially that part. Taught me to lock my safe properly." "Dad!" Nari shouted from the tree. "Look how high I am!" "I see. Please come down before your mother has a heart attack." Nari climbed higher. Junwoo stood at the base of the tree, looking up thoughtfully. Then he walked away and came back with a ladder. "That one's definitely going to take over the family business," Taehyun muttered. "Over my dead body. They're going to be normal kids with normal lives." "Jisoo, they're Kang kids. Normal isn't an option." "Then we'll redefine normal." She leaned against him. "Like we've redefined everything else." "Fair enough." They sat there watching their chaos unfold, watching their best friends laugh and chase their own kid, watching the life they'd built together, messy and imperfect and absolutely beautiful. "I'd choose you again," Jisoo said quietly. "Every time, in every version of this life. I'd find you again, in every universe, every timeline." Taehyun turned her face to his. "You're mine, Jisoo Kang, always, always." And they lived, not happily ever after, because life was too complicated for that, but they lived fully, loved fiercely, chose each other every single day, and that was better than any fairy tale.